Dragon Age the Veilguard. What's up guys? Since the release of this game, I decided I want to play Warlock. But there is no Warlock class in this game. This means we need to start as mage and get our hands on Death Caller Specialization. So today I will walk you through the leveling process of maximum level 50 character to make a full complete build for Death Caller Mage, or how I call it, Warlock in Dragon Age Veilguard. When creating your Warlock or Death Caller, I recommend to start with Morn Watch. There is nice passives for this faction basically, but it won't affect build a lot. Let's get ourselves into Death Caller Specialization as fast as possible by picking correct nodes, because if you're going with incorrect nodes, the enemies will transform into bullet sponges and you will find a lot of boring times when you're playing this game. Instead, you want to have optimized build, and that's why we're starting with Mortar Concentration trait. Since we will hold R2 a lot, it's our ranged attack, and the longer we're keeping it, the more damage it will inflict. That's one of the most important attacks for us, and we will hold this stuff a lot, so we just aim and shoot with this. But by holding this button, you will eat your mana, so as you can see, our mana is depleting over time. So we need to work on this aspect too. Anyway, you start this game at like level 2 with 3 skill points, so we can instantly get Charging Spirit to regenerate stuff energy passively when we are not in combat. And since we are not in combat right now, let me show you what this stuff energy is, and you will use it for triangle attack. Actually, mage got 2 weapon sets, so you got orb and sword, but that's more for other mage types. We will be going with two-handed stuff all the time, basically, we're not switching. And you see a triangle button for me, it's staff attack. So we're performing this extra powerful attack, AoE attack, with some necrotic damage, based on our stuff, of course. And now it starts to passively charge up when we are not in combat. So just look at this bar, and here we got some damage. So basically our triangle attack will deal increased damage when we charge full stuff power, but most importantly, don't forget, when you're playing as mage, you can charge any attack. So that's basic attack, you just hold your button and you can charge it. Same with our triangle, for even more damage, you just press and hold and it will be charged attack. And then we're getting into Frost Nova category, we get a new ability. So you will start the game with the Arcane Shot ability, it's blast with fire damage. You can use it from time to time, but most of the time you will just ignore it and use normal attacks. Instead, we will start to use Frost Nova from now on. That's insanely cool and fun ability. When enemies come close, so you can cast this. It got cooldown of 60 seconds, so pretty long one, but still. You can just cast it and get into safety while they are frozen, and just start attacking them from the distance. Now we're starting to level up. And first of all, we're getting this physical resistance plus 10. Not a big deal, but still really useful and needed stuff. The next node will be Dash Frost. Abilities that deal necrotic or cold damage increase the other type damage by 15% for 6 seconds. And that's actually how it works. You cast Frost Nova, you deal some cold damage, and then all your necrotic damage will be buffed for 6 seconds. And you deal necrotic damage with your weapon. Basically, we are looking for two-handed stuffs doing necrotic damage to inflict necrotic damage with our charged R2 ray. On the next level, we upgrading this damage even more by 10%, increasing our necrotic damage output by this Dash Blessing passive, and then we going right into the Death Caller like part of the skill tree. First of all, we get in this greater passive imbued duration. When you're doing detonation on enemy, you will be granted with shocking weapons. And shocking weapons will deal additional electric damage on weapon attacks. And now we need to get over here. So we get primer duration, but we don't use primers a lot with this build. Instead, we're taking damage versus barrier plus 20%. Range attacks already doing bonus damage to barriers, and now you will like a lot easier destroy these magical barriers. So make sure to focus down mages first in the fights. Mages is actually annoying as hell. So next node will be Corrupted Ground, of course, and that's our spell. So the spell is area duration spell. It applies weakened, this means targets will deal less damage to you, and it's dealing necrotic damage by itself. It's not doing a lot of damage, but applies necrosis on enemies, and necrosis will make enemies take necrotic damage over time, while dealing increased damage against barriers. So use it against mages, and basically just you can use it a lot of the time. Most importantly, whenever you're picking any ability from any node, you will have ability damage plus 15%. So just by getting loads of abilities, you can buff one single ability. So you don't need to use all of them, you're always getting some benefits even when you're not using any skills. Then we're going over here. Maximum necrosis stacks plus 1. That's really important. We will try to stack necrosis as much as possible. And since it's duration spell, we can buff it a lot and maybe like stack a lot of necrosis, considering we can stack necrosis with our gear and stuff like that. So then we're getting channeled thoughts. You need to hold button and press quick attack. So it's basically block and quick attack. It will focus and generate mana. This node is really cool since one of our spells is not using any mana, this Cold Blast not using any mana at all, and you will just use it for setup attacks. And then after setting up the attack, we're using our like this Haunted Ground, area damage, duration spell, and now we are out of mana, but we can just press black button and press square to generate almost full mana in matter of seconds. That's basically how you make setups, and as you can see we got a bunch of cool AoE spells already, and we add in one more to it, since after taking this node we can unlock Death Caller Specialization. But here is the problem. Actually, you can't unlock your specialization before you reach level 20. And these abilities over here will be gatekept by these traits, Soulburn and Dash Surge. They will be gatekept until level 30. So I will show you how to level up and do stuff until level 30. And then you need to respect your character a little bit. So you need to disable all unnecessary runes and start the full build. But before we continue our leveling, let me show you this build in action in early stages of the game and what and how you want to perform in the fight. So, the coolest part again, we're not equipment dependent, you can pick any equipment you like at this point of the game, just make sure your stuff get necrotic damage. And basically you will start your fights, and like this, you just stand from the range and deal this damage to enemies. When you're out of mana, press block and light attack, regain your mana and run away. Don't forget, you're dealing extra damage to mages with your range attacks, so definitely do it and you will see they are vulnerable to your damage types. If you need to stop some sort of like attack or whatever you need, don't forget when enemies come close, just use Ice Blast and then use your setup attack to deal even more damage. You see, there's a lot of damage over time effects and they starting to being destroyed themselves. Also, Triangle is just insanely powerful attack that makes you just completely devastating on the battlefield. But all skills going on cooldown and you will finish by standing in the range and you can charge your attacks for even more damage. Never ignore these charged attacks since they're doing really nice chunk of damage, and just don't forget to replenish your mana in case you need to do really some crazy stuff and nice damage to your enemies. And that's our early game Warlock, pretty active, pretty fun, and looking like really nice. I'm enjoying every bit of the gameplay of this character, and it's time to prepare us to become really broken in the mid-game. So, without further ado, let's jump into leveling 3. And now I will explain quickly what you need to pick for next like 20 levels or so. We need to expand power of our corrupted ground first, and this will be basically area duration ability, and we need to upgrade all area duration stuff to get it more powerful. But don't rush too much. First of all, we need to pick Frostbite. Damage versus Frozen will be plus 15%, and this will make complete difference. You will use your Frost Nova for setups, and then you will basically destroy your enemies. So And also one of most important stuffs right now will be this electric armor. Basically, you need to wear different classifications of your armor and helmet, and you will gain mana regeneration, range attack mana cost, and weak point damage. After getting this stuff, you can get Fate Reflex, and also you can get this Frost Shield. So this will give enough protection and damage to us, and now we can just expand almost over here. Increase primer duration, getting more duration abilities, area abilities. Basically, we're increasing our effects of duration abilities and also area abilities. And then we increase in mana regeneration because we will be short on mana for some time, and also we getting this collateral damage for even more damage. You can get it first, of course. Since one of our most favorite and most powerful attacks is range attack, we can get this range attack plus 15%. And then it doesn't matter, you can pick damage versus armor or any other runes for next few levels. After getting all these runes, you will be ready to unlock your new specialization, the Scholar and Crypt Herald ultimate ability. Over here, for the next 5 levels, you want to unlock your Spirit Bomb, it will be your next damaging attack. And getting these passives for more damage with range attack. Don't get dash and decay. Make sure to get this necrotic damage plus 10%. And you will need to upgrade duration abilities. When you kill enemies under effects of duration abilities, you will spawn some necrotic balls to deal more damage. And you basically will be around like 6 levels away until you can unlock this awesome trait Dash Surge and start making my build, full build. So that's how the full build will work, and you will see it right now. The Spirit Bomb is insane. It will detonate Sundered condition. It will do 765 damage right now, so it's like pretty big number. It will do less on lesser levels, like whatever. It's doing nice damage and applies Siphon to targets. What is Siphon? Siphon is necrotic damage over time, but it's different from necrosis. While necrosis didn't damage over time and more damage against barriers, Siphon will do more damage over time and will return portion as healing. So you finally become a warlock that can heal on hit, and that's pretty cool. So we're definitely taking this note, and next 10 levels you want to spend in this tree. All you want to do is to avoid this node, dash and decay. I got insane build actually for this dash and decay passive, and if you wish, just make sure to write a comment down below. But right now, let's get this concentration to increase range attacks by 15%. And also, now when we're doing this range attack, we can lightly press on light attack quickly at the start of our cast. It will overcharge our range attack, spending more mana, but dealing more damage. 200% more damage. That's insane. Definitely we're picking this up. Then we're getting Fate Conduit for more mana, so we can use more magic and cast this stuff more often for longer periods of time. And Invigorating Beam, so our range attacks now deal necrotic damage and leeches 10% of damage done, replenishing your health. Now, you're not like very beneficent from your stuff actually. You still want to have powerful necrotic stuff, but you can substitute it for powerful other variants because now you will deal necrotic damage anyway. So for some periods of the game you can swap them out, but I never swapped my necrotic stuffs, so whatever. On the next level we want to increase this power even more. Necrotic damage plus 10%. So this like insanely powerful Dash Surge Ray is even more crazy right now. But let's make it even more broken. First of all, we pick in Soul Burn. When we hold in our range attack, we can tap Triangle to expend mana to create powerful Surge, to have power to detonate sundered targets, but we don't need it because we will have this power to detonate sundered targets with Spirit Bomb anyway. That's just our gatekeeper for next nodes, and they're insane. First of all, we get in plus 100 health with health leech effects plus 50%. So now our leech from this ability that gives 10% leech will be upgraded by 50%, means we have plus 15% lifesteal more. But the biggest problem for us at this point of the game will be mana. You know, enemies will have more health and mana will deplete a lot faster. So we will get this one. Actions that consume mana now consume health when mana is depleted, and that's our action is main ability. Now we've got basically unlimited mana, and while we're doing damage, we're leeching health, so spending health is not a big problem, but will be a problem. So we can fix it easily with Desperation. We're gaining bonus damage relative to amount of health we lost and our target lost. So we're just focusing down target, we're losing all our mana. Now we're using health as damage, and while losing health, we're getting even more damage every time we're losing health and target losing health, and we're leeching more and more and more, and basically we are unkillable machine right now. That's pretty crazy. What I really like to use, basically we got a few duration abilities. First of all, we get Spirit Bomb, and also we get Corrupted Ground. Corrupted Ground is something that we will use now. Instead of doing more damage with Spirit Bomb, probably we will use Corrupted Ground to defeat enemies under the condition of Corrupted Ground. And that's the big stuff, because by getting Restless Spirits, after we defeat someone, when they are the duration abilities effects, it will fire Necrotic Bolt from the corpse and seek out nearby enemies. It's basically dealing more and more damage for our area abilities. And to deal even more damage, I like to pick Overdraw. Abilities costs additional 50 mana but gain 50% penetration. So with this playstyle, we will use mostly Dash Surge right now at this point of the game. And you know, abilities is not a big deal. We will use them to detonate most of the time, and that's it. So we definitely can have this stuff to deal more damage with our abilities. After getting all these notes, it's time to get back to the beginning, to the first Nova category. And we're taking few notes over here nearby. First of all, we like to get this greater passive. While wearing different armor classifications, basically you need a different helmet and armor, you will have more mana regeneration, range attacks will cost less mana, and that's a big deal, and weak point damage will be up by 15%. So when you aim to the head, you will do more damage. It's pretty great note, just make sure you got different classes of armor. So for example, you want to have light armor on your body and like medium helmet. Also by getting this range attack damage plus 15% right now, and this 15%, while not really a big game changer in the beginning, considering all buffs we have right now in our range attack, this 15% is just a nightmare for our enemies. And we will increase our damage even more right now by picking Frostbite. Damage versus frozen enemies will be up by 15%, completely free. So we always using Frost Nova as a setup, as I told you. Use Frost Nova, enemies is frozen, they are slowed, and you will deal extra 15% damage against them. Extra 15 from Dash Frost setup, and basically we will be just insanely overpowered damage dealer. And basically we are aiming to be ready for the late game, and this like 5 points we will go over here. So we will try to upgrade our Corrupted Ground again. Yeah, so we started with Corrupted Ground as our main source of damage, then we switched to Spirit Bomb, and now we want to switch back to Corrupted Ground because it's area duration ability, and we can buff it like a lot. Right over here, we get in collateral damage, so hitting multiple enemies with a single area ability deals 10% more damage for each enemy hit. And this will also affect our Spirit Bomb. No, it won't actually, it's Duration Blast, yeah. So we're focusing on our Corrupted Ground mostly. Then, after triggering Duration ability, we wait in 5 seconds to regain 25 bonus mana. It's pretty nice subtle buff. And also we're taking Primary Duration plus 20% with more radius for area abilities from Brazen Room, and also time management, upgrading duration abilities and effects are increased by 50%. By taking all this stuff over here, we aiming for the late game, and we start entering late game by picking Dash and Decay finally to increase damage of our Corrupted Ground. Let's see this character in action right now. Basically we're doing crazy amount of damage, and we can charge this insane beam. You see how powerful we are right now compared to just a few seconds ago. And yeah, I'm showing this all of this in basic gear, from like basic gear, but against level 50 enemies. So enemies scaling with our character is level 50 right now, and they are level 52 or like level 45. Let's charge up our mana first, get some mana points, and we are ready to unleash. We are ready to unleash this corrupted ground. Look at the area and look at the damage. He is just one-shotted. He is just one-shotted by damage over time ability. That's how picking correct nodes instantly changes the way you inflict damage in Dragon Age. And that's how much damage you can deal to these poor dudes, even when your damage type is not best against them. So, hitting weak points like that. Just make sure you're watching at your health. As you can see, if we're hitting no targets, it's easy to deplete your health, and you can actually even almost die from this. Only problem you can face at this point of the game is your Ice Blast will start to cost mana. Don't worry, it's not a bug, it's because we picked this node over here. I mean, this one, yeah, our draw, because all abilities is costing 50 mana more right now. And if you find like problems by keeping your mana, just refund this point in the seat. But we made insanely overpowered corrupted ground already, and we're ready to make it even more powerful. Like, honestly, our Warlock is kinda almost ready. So, closer to the late game, we want to increase a little bit of corrupted ground power and also increase our defenses. So, getting Arcane Defiance, more resistance to necrotic and electric damage is a nice note over here. Fate Reflex is great. If you press 0 evade button right before an impact, it will slow down time, very useful for you, especially in late game situations. Increasing advantage durations by 20% is a nice stuff, also by picking Zone of Destruction, upgrading area abilities. When hitting 3 or more enemies, you're gaining enhanced damage. But here's another fun stuff. Whenever you take damage, you regenerate 5 mana. So whenever you damage yourself, you're taking damage. Technically, you're regenerating a little bit of mana, stopping to damage yourself, and that's pretty fun note over here. Also, it's nice to have Primer Duration plus 20% to get increased effects of area abilities by 50%. And now we need to think for like last points when you're going to the level like from 40 to 50 category. What is your play style and what you want more? Just pure damage or utility first? So for those of you who want more utility, go with this part over here. Takedown damage plus 15%, getting Ice Blast, not using it just to get this plus 15 damage. And also we're getting Meditation for more mana regeneration rate, getting 100 health, so we are more tanky, getting Absorb whenever we defend against attack. We are recharging stuff energy a little bit and can push targets with our crazy necrotic stuff. And also we can use this note over here. Upgrading area abilities for every enemy hit, you regenerate some stuff energy. It's nice stuff to combine, especially in the late game when every enemy's got a lot more health. You will need to use triangle charge attack like a lot more. But here is another part where you can go. First of all, we can go to the Fate Strike, double evade and then quick attack will do some funny attack. But we need it to increase mana regeneration, especially to make it regenerate faster when you're not spending mana. Then we get Enchained Lightning, again just to pick a skill. And picking these two nodes, maximum mana plus 50, we will need it, and also Elemental Catalyst. Abilities will gain 15% bonus damage based on type of our stuff and orb weapons. And basically that's where you want to have your necrotic weapons to deal more necrotic damage, and it will amplifies like insanely insane our damage output. And last note will be Meditation, mana regeneration rate plus 15%. That's how our build is look like for my Warlock. It's pure like insane area of effect control, burst, destroying machine. Combine it with right gear and you will see your enemies melt like in basically no time. And I actually hope that you enjoy this awesome build for Warlock in Dragon Age Veilguard, and you will have blast playing it in your Dragon Age adventures. Make sure to watch other cool videos on the screen right now. Maybe you want another build to try in your adventures if you're not liking Warlocks and Mages too much. Have a nice day and see you in the next videos.